Hello everyone and welcome to this week's episode of Hawk Talk. We're your hosts, Hillary Moberg
and Dallas Mitchell.
And our guest for today is the head rodeo coach, Eudell Larsen. So Coach Larsen, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do at DSU.
Okay, I am Eudell Larsen, the head rodeo coach for DSU, and I guess, I've been doing this a long time. I guess it started in South Dakota. I grew up on a ranch in New Underwood, South Dakota, a little ways out of Rapid City. In the late 90s, I got a job with a university there as the assistant rodeo coach. Was there for 12 years, and then luckily was offered this job here in Dickinson, and made the move, and I've been here now. This is my 14th year.
Wow, congrats. That's awesome. Yeah. So to kind of kick off the show, Rodeo's been traveling a lot the past couple of weekends. You kind of want to give the fans a little bit of the recap of what's happened with that?
Yeah, we've been to River Falls, Wisconsin, Fort Dodge, Iowa, North Platte, Nebraska. We just finished our rodeo last weekend, and they've all been back-to-back weekends. So we're traveling thousands of miles with numerous horses and, of course, all the contestants. But we've had a good fall. The women's team is currently sitting first in the region, and the men's team is second, and that's out of, there's over 300 contestants in our region from I'd say maybe 11 different schools. So we're really excited about how our year is starting off.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, and then this past weekend you guys got to host a rodeo. How did that go for you guys?
It went really well.
Yeah.
As far as the production of the rodeo, the kids really stepped up and really helped out with that. The women's team again won the rodeo. Men's team ended up third, but it was a close third.
Yeah.
So we had a good rodeo.
Good. So I was able to stop by at the rodeo on Saturday, and there was a little bit of rain and wind. How does that affect team performance?
Rodeo's sometimes kind of like the mail. It goes on rain or shine. And, just a little bit of moisture that we had. Of course, we're always thankful for moisture here, but, there was a bit of a breeze. But overall, it really didn't affect, actually the rodeo performance. It affects attendance, but as far as a competition, a couple weeks before that, in North Platte, Nebraska, we had a downpour with hail.
Oh, geez.
We continued to rodeo through that. Now, had there been a lot of lightning, of course, we'd have stopped, but we just went on ahead and rodeoed through the rain.
So I'm kind of curious, with other sports, for softball, sometimes we practice, we have to play in sometimes when it's snowing or raining. Do you guys do any sort of practice or mental preparation before rodeos with the weather conditions?
Not really.
No.
Rodeo is a mental game, and you're prepared. The only preparation you make, and that's not just weather-wise, is that you have your basics that you try to do, in each event, and you just focus on doing those. It doesn't matter what the conditions are.
Huh. So in some competitions, some sports, they talk about having like a home field advantage. Would you say that exists for the rodeo team at all?
Yes and no. It's nice being at home. Everybody's comfortable. Everybody's well rested. But all of our contestants are expected to help put on that rodeo. So some of them are sorting cattle, pushing cattle, running out gates for the other contestants. They're still trying to compete themselves. So sometimes it's actually a little bit harder to put on your own rodeo and compete as well. So there is a bit of an advantage as that you're at home, but on the other hand, you're trying to put on the rodeo for all the other contestants.
It's very impressive they were able to still do so well while still having to do so much behind the scenes too.
Yes, it is. They did a great job.
That's awesome. So then, what is your favorite event to coach? Do you have a favorite?
Of course I do. Growing up, I started out as a roper, transitioned into a rough stock guy, and ended up mainly as a saddle bronc rider. So it would be my favorite event to coach, saddle bronc and bareback riding. But I enjoy all the events. As I said, I have some background in all of the men's events, of course. So I enjoy all of them to a degree.
Yeah. Do you have one that you'd say is maybe the hardest, even though you enjoy them all?
Well, of course, like the barrel racing. I have no background with that. But we're really fortunate in this area. We've got a lot of local people, rodeo contestants who are willing to come in occasionally and share their knowledge. Even the roping events, even the saddle bronc. I don't know everything, and so having somebody come in and help is good. But I do rely on outside help, especially with those women's events, especially the goat tying and barrel racing.
If you were to be able to compete in one of the events today, which event do you think you would choose to participate
saddle bronc,
in?
absolutely. I mean, that became my passion, so that would be the event I would compete in.
Kind of steering gears a little bit, getting into more of the fun questions. If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go and why?
That would be either Alaska or Africa.
Those are two very different places.
I like to think I'm a outdoorsy guy, and I do enjoy hunting, and so those are two places that just the allure of the wildlife and the landscape. I would love to go to either place.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun trip.
Yeah,
One I'd certainly like to go to. I think Africa's beautiful.
Yeah.
On another note, if you could have one meal for the rest of your life, which meal would you choose? I know that's a hard one.
No, it's it's beef. It could be steak. I like hamburger, but it definitely beef.
That was quick to answer. I think it'd take me a couple minutes to have to decide.
No, that I'm a ranch guy, so no.
I kind of had a feeling in my brain that might be what you would pick.
Yeah.
So I thought it'd be fun to see. So back up to a more serious note, what would you say your coaching philosophy is?
That's a hard one because I've never really thought about what my philosophy is. Number one, of course we have teams, and how the teams do is important to us, to the school, to the kids themselves. But I guess maybe that's my philosophy. If each individual contestant does well, our team's going to do well. So I'm not so much coaching from the team aspect as the individual aspect, because if I can help someone get good as an individual, the team's going to benefit from that. Rodeo's a little different than other, because we have so many different events. Baseball, basketball, football, we have different positions, to play, which it's similar, but it's not the same. So, and not comparing, saying that we're better or worse than, it's just different.
Yeah, exactly. So then, do you have any advice that you could offer to someone who is maybe hoping to compete at a collegiate level?
Well, I'd like to even go further than that and say, if there's a young person that wants to compete in rodeo, number one, they need to seek out. There's a lot of rodeo schools around the country right now. Number one is learning how to do, how to compete in your event correctly and safely. And so that's where it needs to start. At a collegiate level, number one, I tell them, as any possible collegiate athlete, keep your grades up, do good in school. We're not looking for necessarily straight A students, but we need everybody to go to class and do their work and come to college with the idea that you're going to learn. Not just academically, but athletically as well.
Mm-hmm. So then, last question that we have for you is kind of our favorite question to ask on Hawk Talk, and that's, what does DSU mean to you?
I've watched several of these Hawk Talks, and it seems like everybody says, it's family. And I thought, what would I say? And it's got to be family. It really is. I thought, well, that kind of sounds lame. There should be something else, because everybody says that, but it really is. I don't get over to the main campus at a lot, but our ag department, where I'm mostly associated with, it is a big family. We do get along, but then when we do need things from main campus, when we do have that connection, everybody's willing to help, and the instructors have been great as far as our rodeo team misses a lot of time out of class, and they're more than willing to help with that. You know, the other thing I'd really like to thank DSU for, the athletic department. Rodeo is considered a club sport, not part of athletics, but the athletic department at DSU has really worked hard to accept us and make us part of the athletic department, and I really appreciate that, because most schools do not do that. So.
It's great to hear. So thank you for coming on our show today. We really appreciated having you, getting to pick your brain a little bit. There are no more home rodeos this season. Last weekend was the only one we had. So just make sure to check out our DSU Athletics page for updates on where the rodeo team is traveling to next.
Welcome to the 2021-2022 school year at Dickinson State University. The DSU Heritage Foundation is excited to bring the Blue Hawk Scholarship Fund to the DSU campus.
The Blue Hawk Scholarship Fund is comprised of your general and sport-specific giving, named scholarships, advertising, sponsorship of athletic programs, endowments, and program greatest needs support. Made possible by you, the Blue Hawk Scholarship Fund and the DSU Heritage Foundation will award over $700,000 in athletic support for the 2021-2022 school year.
Donate to the Blue Hawk Scholarship Fund today.
Visit us online at dsuheritagefoundation.org and help support Blue Hawk athletes in the classroom, in competition, and in our community.
Come soar with the Hawks.
Thanks, Hillary. And I'm Jacob Marley, here with a brand new guest. If you could just introduce yourself, tell us who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
Hi, my name is Matt Anderson. I'm from Jamestown, North Dakota, and well, first I play Dickinson State football, and well, that's pretty much it.
And if you could do us a favor and just tell us about how the season's gone so far.
You know, I think the season's been going pretty decent so far. We could definitely do better, but that's our goal. I know we're all aiming for conference championships.
Yep.
We're aiming for national champs. So
Yep, that's right. Awesome. And then if you didn't know, Matt is the Defensive Player of the Week for the NSAA. And could you just tell us how the game against the Trojans went?
I thought it went really well. A lot of the defense was communicating. We were all on the same page. Everyone was doing their jobs, and yeah, that's just how it works. I make it through, I get the tackle.
Yep.
Somebody else makes it through, somebody else makes the tackle. So it could have been anybody else.
Awesome. And then it's your first time heading down to Iowa. Can you just kind of tell us how you guys have been preparing for that whole game?
Well, these guys are new. There haven't been a lot of second years coming in, mainly like two guys. So our main goal has been just to not overlook them, but to see them as a threat. Because these guys, they're 3-2. They just beat Mayville. So and I get that Mayville, they're an opponent. So we got to make sure that we're ready for them, and that we don't just overlook these guys. Because as our coach says, we're one loss and we're out.
Yep. That is the reality of the NSAA I've been seeing. And then final question we kind of ask everybody here at DSU that comes on the Hawk Talk show. What does DSU mean to you?
It's like a second home. You meet new people, and it just works, you know?
Yep.
You meet new people, and all of a sudden they just become a part of your life. Like, I thought I wasn't going to make a lot of friends on this team, but it just works.
Yep.
So, yeah.
No, I can definitely count for it. I felt the same exact way. Well, hey, thank you, Matt, for your time, man. I appreciate you coming on the interview. And my name is Jacob Marley again. Thank you.
Thank you to Jacob for our on-campus interview. Now let's get into the recap. So baseball played a doubleheader against Mayville this weekend at home. They split the games, won the first 8-1, lost the second 6-3, and now they're done with their fall scrimmages, so they won't pick up again until the spring.
Cross country, both the men's and women's team will be traveling to Jamestown this weekend to participate in the Jimmy Invite on October 7th.
For football, the team traveled to Madison, South Dakota this past weekend to play Dacotah State. After some vehicle troubles, they were able to make it to South Dakota and pull off a win 27-7. And this upcoming weekend, the team will be traveling to Mount Pleasant, Iowa to play Iowa Wesleyan College on October 8th. So good luck.
And golf is unfortunately done with their fall season. However, they will pick it back up in March for their annual Arizona trip.
Softball will be traveling to play Dawson Community College this weekend on October 8th. Good luck.
Yes, I know, right? We're excited. And volleyball had their first home game series of the season this past weekend. Unfortunately, they lost against Bellevue on Friday, but they were able to bounce back and win against Dacotah State on Saturday.
For Rodeo, we just interviewed head coach Eudell Larsen, and he talked about how they hosted the Blue Hawk Stampede this past weekend, which is the only home rodeo of the season. He mentioned the women's team took first and the men's team took third, so congrats to all of them. They'll be getting a break these next few weekends, and they'll pick back up again at the Buena Vista Stampede in Storm Lake, Iowa. Never heard of that place. On October 21st and 22nd.
And for Fine and Performing Arts, the homecoming concert is next Monday, October 10th at 7 p.m. in Dorothy Stickney Auditorium, and this concert will feature DSU band, choir, and jazz band. So good luck to them.
Yes. Thank you to all of our sponsors for keeping this show going, and to all of you watching at home. Without you, we wouldn't be able to have a show. So thank you. And be sure to check out our social media. We've got our Instagram at DSU Foundation and our Twitter at DSU Heritage. With that, Hawks are up. I was kidding. I almost started tripping on my words.
I know. I was like,
I need to be done.
Stop. I know. I was like trying to like make it quick, but I was like.